Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Last Best Hope for Conversation, your Babylon 5 podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jesse Jackson. Joining me, as always, is Karen
Hello.
and Lou.
Good morning, everyone.
And we have just had a lovely discussion for about 20 minutes that I think is going to be so much more fun than the discussion of A Tragedy of Telepaths. Once again, I remember how much I dislike this telepath story. This episode originally aired March 25th, 1998. I kind of worry about saying that out loud because I don't want to sway y'all's impression.
You
And,
haven't.
and if this is one of your favorite storylines, please send me an email
Nope.
telling me why.
Okay.
Yeah.
My audience, the jklb5podcast at gmail.com. One of the other podcasts I do is Perfectly Good Podcast, where we're counting down every John Hyatt song in alphabetical order.
Take a
And
drink.
so Sylvan and I we just had a song that was a one. And like we talked, I said, if I could do point 0.5, I would. Sylvan is a big believer in just whole numbers. And I said, but if you love this song, please email me. I would love to hear, not just because I love the idea that somebody finds joy in something I don't, because I will never
Right.
question like why. I would question why in a happy way. Oh man, tell me why you
Please
like
let me
this,
know.
because I'd love to hear this from different ideas.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Karen.
No, not to put off talking about it again, but
Yeah.
there's a guy on YouTube called Andrew Babish. I don't know if you know who he is. He does like a food blog kind of thing.
Okay.
And some of his, he does categories of videos. And one of those is like testing and rating.
Yeah.
And when he rates stuff, he is so angry when it's below a 5. He just hates it. And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. If you like it, tell me because I don't get it. And literally, he called a customer service agent from Jimmy Dean rating breakfast sandwiches because he didn't understand why it said egg, cheese, and bacon and not bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yeah, we are talking a tragedy of telepaths. Lou, go ahead.
Each storyline on its own has pluses, but they also have big minuses. I think the one storyline with Lockley has some big logic issues that I just didn't understand why they were going down the storyline the way they did. Though, on a very superficial level, I enjoyed watching her get out of bed.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Lou, that was just what I was going to talk about before I said no, I should get into watching her do the sit-ups with the chair. And my wife is someone who has me doing this is she'll go, look at those arms.
Hannah
And
Waddingham is one that I think of.
she looks great. I love seeing her, what the kind of t-shirt, like undergarment she wears before the jacket. Yeah, she just is a badass. And I really, as much as I love Susan and miss her, I think Lockley has really come in with that feeling of I'm a badass woman in control and in command. So,
Yep.
Karen.
Yeah, I agree with Lou 100%. There are some things that are important. I know you said, good. I don't know if there are good things in it, but there are important beats in it. But yeah, I agree that there's lots of plot holes in it. Lots of I want to pick up my phone and play solitaire moments in it. But like you said, hot. She was so hot. And then a little later on, we get the Centauri girl who is also incredibly hot. Man, I
Yes.
loved that bustier she had on. So hot. So there was a lot of hotness in this episode, and I appreciated that very much.
Yeah, so again, we can go through the stories, but I just want to talk about in general terms. I think it could have been interesting if the telepaths had gone the way of the IRA or other terrorist organizations and doing that. And once again, making you understand why they're doing this. My biggest issue is I don't understand Byron feeling and his people had gotten the the shaft, but I don't understand what he thinks they're going to accomplish by what they're doing. I think people won't care. There's a Honda strike, and I don't understand. I don't have any feelings. So the person who is arguing with Brian about we need to be more aggressive, we don't really have a face of that. It just is. So, Karen, go ahead. Give me your thoughts on and just anything you want to talk about this telepath storyline. I'd love to hear.
Sure. There were some important story beats here, mostly dealing with Bester. And I thought to myself, what are they trying to accomplish here? It seems like what they're doing is 100% counterproductive to their goal. Because right now, they are doing things that they're not conducive to having anyone help them get their own planet. How are they going to get this new settlement on a planet by attacking people on Babylon 5? How is that going to end for them? It's going to end either with all of them dead or some of them dead and some of them in prison, because ultimately at some point they're in a controlled environment. Did they think that they weren't going to bring in someone to block their vibes that were coming through the door? I don't get it. I don't understand. What Byron, there's some smart people there. Lita, for one. Why doesn't she say we're not going to accomplish anything by doing this? We should just come out and try and work things out with them. But she doesn't. She is all in on this thing. And that is so frustrating to me. So I'm assuming that on the in real life side of things is so Bester can come on board and we can have that conflict, the telepath war. And I thought, okay, so we know there's a telepath war. They've said it on the show. Is it a war between the two factions of telepaths? Is it a war between that faction, the Byron faction of telepaths, and everyone else? Is it a war between, is it going to become a war between Bester and everybody else? I don't know which way it's headed. That's one of the good things. Bester, I love whenever he comes on the show. Walter Koenig is fantastic as Bester. Whenever I see him come on board, I know there's going to be either conflict or snarkiness or something. And we got all of that with him this time. That line he says with, fine, a little depressed about the inflation rate and hemlines are going down again. But otherwise, it's like peak Bester at that point. And Zach going, shut up. It's an interesting part of that storyline, having Bester come on board and say, okay, let me take them into custody, because that brings a conflict in. Conflict is necessary in any story. We have the poor guy trying to break through the door, having these schisms in his brain, saying that there's a bomb on the other side of the door. That's bad, because we know that when telepaths invade your brain, there's a chance of damage, right? So they don't care about anyone but themselves at that point. And then Bester blocking them, hooray. That's a good point. It shows how strong Bester is. And it also shows that Lita's not on the other side of the door. So he knows that Lita's not right there blocking him, because he would know that. So there's a lot of little things in the story that are good. The big things, bad.
Lou.
Yeah.
What she said. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, basically. Plus, I have some logic questions. One, why is Sheridan not getting involved in this at all? Like, not even a consultation between him and Lockley? I don't get that. He's responsible for the situation based on the history of the show. You think he would be very eager to try to rectify the problem, but he's not even being consulted. And Lockley, goes ahead and calls for Bester's help without, again, consulting anybody. It didn't make any sense to me. And didn't they just go through a whole exercise a couple episodes ago where they hid all the telepaths from Bester? And now they're admitting that they're all there. It just, those things just don't make sense. And then to top it off, Byron communicates with Lockley and has her crawl all the way, shades of Chuck season 5, through the ducks, and to say goodbye. Seriously? What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, you could have just sent her a communication the old-fashioned way. So that was like a whole lot of nothing, to riff on a Led Zeppelin song. But yeah, the logic issues are there. Just I just couldn't understand what was going on in that storyline. I'm just thinking to myself, why did JMS make this decision to go with this storyline? Why didn't he maybe come up with some sort of rebel shadow group that had not decided to make the leap that they still had to eradicate or something like that to go back to try to go, or in some way continue the overarching series arc as opposed to this telepath storyline, which just seems very ill-conceived, to be kind about it. I'm sure JMS has his position. He's been pretty staunch in defending other issues that fans have had with the show, but this storyline is just doesn't hold together. It doesn't hold water. And like Karen said, for telepaths, they're very bad at communicating.
Yes.
is the bottom line.
Yeah, and also we've set up this whole storyline with the Centauri and the shadow race of the suckers and the invisible dudes. That's way more interesting to me. Plus, we got already a lead in to that. We know it's going to end with this showdown between G'Kar and Londo choking each other. And I feel like that is a way more interesting storyline. And there has been a build-up to that storyline as well. He did mention there would be a telepath storyline in other seasons, but we could have dropped that because we're dropping the other storyline that I feel is just so. Yeah, I agree. I'm puzzled by the choices here.
Yeah, I agree. It just doesn't seem to work. It's a boring storyline. And when I talk about how I didn't enjoy the fifth season as much, it is heavily clouded by this telepath story.
Yep.
I just don't find Byron as a charismatic leader. He doesn't seem to be someone that would get people to follow him. Yeah.
Lots of flaws there.
Yes.
We're-
Yeah, yes, he is
The direction,
director.
I have no problem with the direction.
Yeah, I think it seems dumb that you crawl in the space to go talk to him when it just feels like you could, once again, they're telepaths. Like, send a message, Lita, I want to
Right.
talk.
Is it just a compulsion? Are they actually putting words into her head, or are they showing her, we want you to come here? It would have been nice to know either way.
Yeah.
I do have a plus in that storyline, and it's a really small plus.
Okay.
When it's Die Hard or Chuck, there's no way you could crawl through vents in real life because none of them are that big. But on a ship, like we see in Farscape, they crawl through access tunnels. On Star Trek, they do that. Right. On a ship, it can be whatever size you want it to be. It's not real life ducts.
Yes, there you go.
So at least there's that.
So as one of my weaknesses or strengths or passions is I adore Hallmark movies. I've talked about them before. And when there is a Hallmark, What the Hallmark podcast where three guys talk the Hallmark movie. And,
oh, really?
And they do, they do.
There's several podcasts, but the one with three guys is interesting.
Yeah, they're What the Hallmark. And so they do a hot take, things that give you feels, the What the Hallmark, and then I think about my wait what, and then What the Hallmark. And the wait what are things that wait what? Mm-hmm. And one of the things, they just had an episode where someone had to crawl in vents, and it was big enough that two people were in the vent with space. Right?
The size of vent would never work.
All right, we're going to go to Centauri now.
Yay!
The JMS in the script book said that he always wanted to have Natoth come back. He reached out to Caitlin, the actress. She said yes, she was up for it. So he wrote the episode to put a capper to that. I think this is definitely the best part of the episode, and I'm trying not to damn it with faint praise. But I do think it's interesting, though I do have some wait whats in there that discuss. But Karen, the thought of Natoth and that whole storyline, and I agree with you. I wonder if Londo later is going to say, and oh, by the way, I need to have that Centauri woman come back after we get Natoth done, because she seemed very eager to help the future, the Londo.
I'm assuming that's what her title is, right?
Yeah.
Saying that whatever the other Cartagia.
He liked that too.
To dress up in my clothes, essentially.
Yeah,
that's not surprising to me at all. Here's one thing I super appreciated about that storyline. We got G'Kar being angry again,
Yes.
justifiably angry with all of Centauri, but also with Londo. And it was almost irrationally angry, but you could tell it was like, it's your fault whether you knew it or not, because you're the one that instigated this whole thing. Because it didn't matter what Londo said, he was still angry at him. I don't care that you didn't know. And Londo trying to explain away by telling that anecdote about the guards being near that flower for 1,000 years. That was a good beat. I also like that we're seeing, it was almost a cross between that anger and sad storyline and a buddy comedy, because smuggling someone out in women's clothing it's such a trope of a comedy. So we had that, and him walking down the hallway acting like he's drunk and putting her on the ship.
Because the royal court is used to not seeing things, which I thought was an interesting premise. It seems like you should be able to countermount a previous emperor's, but I guess because he isn't officially emperor yet, he can't.
The person that gave that other order was the daughter of someone who wasn't an emperor. So that didn't hold a lot of water for me, although logically, I get it. Again, so many things that just don't work, but then it ultimately works. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You have to hand wave some stuff away, but there were some good things in this storyline. I enjoyed the banter between G'Kar and Londo early in the episode. Him saying that, well, everyone now on the same side, perhaps you're planning to invade yourselves for a change.
Yes.
I find the idea curiously appealing. Once you've finished killing each other, we can plow under all the buildings and plant rows of flowers that spell out the words "too annoying to live" in letters big enough to be seen from space. That was fantastic. I also enjoyed, after they freed Natath, Londo saying, "For my next trick, I shall fly around the room under my own power."
Yeah.
So there were some really great things. I love those interactions between G'Kar and Londo. That's one of my favorite parts of that storyline, is them acting together, because they have such great chemistry together. And I think the storyline was decent. Like I said, if that was the main storyline, I would be all in on this season. So
Lou?
Spoo.
That was funny that no one would fresh Spoo except Narn.
Yeah, that was very weak. I love these two actors together. I think they work well off each other. But this whole section of the episode, especially with Natath encapsulating what happened in the previous seasons, shows why these two characters should not be together in this type of relationship. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I just can't get into this storyline with these two guys acting buddy like this, when I know that it would be like taking a survivor of a concentration camp and putting them with Hitler. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I just cannot get into this whole dynamic, or I just can't get behind any of the storylines that are happening between these two guys, despite the fact that they are great actors and they work well off of each other. But I'm just tuning out when these guys are together like this. It just doesn't work for me. And I feel insulted that this is being pushed at me episode after episode, like they're two good buddies.
Yeah, and that could have been cured by Londo not being as involved, period.
How powerful that
would have stopped it.
That moment could have been if Londo had discovered on his own that there was a Narn prisoner there, and as an act of penance, he took it upon himself to get this person out of that situation. That would have been, to me, a much more powerful story. But we get this instead, which is like, you can't build relationships on lies, and that's how this is. Just, I'm going to stop, because people are probably just going to get so annoyed.
What makes me sad is that so there's nothing in this episode you can enjoy, right? Except
acting. Yep, I like the acting. Yep.
But overall, this is just because I can really enjoy, because I do enjoy the kind of the moving in this, of seeing this kind of buddy cop, this moving. But if you don't move that, if that doesn't work for you, and I totally understand why, I'm not disagreeing with it, I'm just saying, then you really I don't got anything for you.
No, except the bedroom scenes.
I know this is a short one, but anything else we need to talk about?
On the storyline or the episode?
The episode.
We haven't talked about Sheridan.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
Yeah, we had the whole storyline with the factions in the alliance being pitted against each other. And mind you, it was almost nothing. But
My theory on this,
Yeah.
Bester's behind it.
do you think?
Ooh.
I thought it was the shadow people.
What shadow people?
The dudes on the shoulder, and then we saw the invisible dude.
Could be.
No,
But I think they're more concentrated on Narn right now. I think this whole getting the alliance to fall apart it's got to be something from Earth. So I'm going to go with
Okay.
Bester.
Okay.
I feel like I think what they're wanting us to think is that this is the people that are on Centauri Prime are also trying to do this. But I like your theory a lot.
Anything away.
Yeah. What is sad is last night I knew that we were going to talk about this, and I just did not want to watch the episode again. So I totally forgot the Sheridan storyline. I'm so glad one of you brought it. I was like, oh yeah, I guess that did happen.
I mean, it seems important, right? At least as a drop in, a little lantern thing, right?
But it also highlights the problem with the season is that Sheridan and Delenn have basically shunted off to the side. Though it is nice to see Garibaldi actually interacting with Sheridan once in a while now.
Yeah, I do that part of it. And even though we're going to have to get past we assume they cleaned the air, wish we could have seen it.
I'm really curious how, because you've told us that the last episode of season 4 has been pulled and it's going to be at the end of season 5. I can't see how that's going to fit, but I'm really curious when we get to that point.
What is the circuitous route it's going to go for us to see that at the end?
Yeah, darn fine question. And I will, and I could tell you, but it would not, it would be spoilers.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Hallmark movies. You mentioned the Hallmark movies, and one of the things, I love Hallmark movies, don't get me wrong. Yeah. One of the things that bothers me about them is that they're always fade to black and in a big way. Yeah. Like usually they don't even kiss until the end of the movie, right?
Yes.
And that bothers me because in today's society, they would definitely be kissing, at least. Even in a clean relationship, we don't see what's going on, and that always irritates me. So yeah, in order to bring it back around to the Hallmark movies, at least.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. By the way, I wish we could find, for the holidays, last year they had a Hanukkah time travel, time loop episode that was really good.
I always enjoy the ghost episodes. Yeah. Like a ghost comes back to help them find love. Those are always good. Or the one that was like It's a Wonderful Life last year.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's a tangent for you B5 fans.
Yeah.
And a tangent they're probably definitely not interested in.
It's the way it goes.
Yeah. No, this is I'm still on Hallmark.
Hallmark. Oh, okay. They're good. And usually the guys are really good looking, which helps a lot.
Absolutely.
What's his name from Chuck?
Brandon Routh has been in some.
I'm talking about
Mr. Awesome.
Mr. Awesome. Yeah. Mr. Awesome.
Dr. Awesome, whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's been in several.
And Chuck's sister is in a couple of them. Yeah.
And and of course our girl from 12 Monkeys.
Absolutely.
So there we go. Now we've sewn it. We've sewn the Harley.
There we go.
So far we've mentioned about 5 of the other podcasts that we've done. Yeah, exactly.
The name of the movie is Round and Round. And if you can find it, it is a Hanukkah movie. But so she wasn't in that movie. That's why it was a different actress. But it is absolutely, part of it happens at a comic book store. And so they keep doing this culture.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, it is a Groundhog Day, and they make fun of Groundhog Day. They make fun of comics. They make her read all these comics so she can understand time travel. So yeah.
Oh, Rick Hoffman from Suits.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So if you can find that, Karen,
since we're down this rabbit hole, are they in more than one of these Hallmark movies?
Yes, there is an actual, and so we will put a disclaimer.
Taint the story that she fell in love with this guy in this other movie. Now she's in this movie. She's falling in love with another guy.
So it's like she gets
around.
It is similar to new albums from your band. In other words, you have favorite leading men, leading women that are, and so I know this is a very likable leading role as an actor or an actress, and therefore I like the movies they're in. And it's okay they're playing different characters, the same way John Wayne plays different characters or other stuff. So that's it. It doesn't bother us at all.
Okay.
And some of them
Just
you
thinking of the
go, that
purity
wasn't
of
the
the
best, or
franchise.
Yeah,
they
they usually look a little different.
exactly. Yeah. All right. Boy, you could tell we really didn't like.
The reason I can be really happy about Hallmark movies is because I also watch movies on this other channel called
Yeah.
Passion Flicks.
Ah.
It's tasteful women's porn.
Ah.
And I enjoy that very much.
All right. Now, so we've got telepaths to the left, misunderstanding things to the right. Just there's a mess on Babylon 5. Is everything going to get solved? Who the hell knows? Next episode, Phoenix Rising. And then I believe that might wrap up the telepath story, but I won't swear
really?
to it.
Oh, it's not a season-long thing?
I don't think so.
Phoenix Rising, the
Yeah.
Ragged Edge, the corpse, his mother, his father.
Yeah.
It is
So,
Casey
yeah.
Williams.
Yeah. So I think we wrap it up next week.
All righty.
We did get feedback, didn't we? Oh, boy, I guess we got to rate.
Do we?
Karen, rate.
5.5
Okay.
plates of raw spoo.
Okay.
I don't know.
Lou?
Ooh, I'm going to give this one 4. If You Could Read My Minds by Gordon Lightfoot.
Ooh,
If
nice.
you could read my mind, love.
That
what
is
a
really
tale
good.
My thoughts could tell.
I am going to go 6 because of 6, I want to say really good looking arms, but I'm going to do 6 out of I would have rather spent time watching a Hallmark movie.
Yep.
Very good.
If everything in the Babylon 5 was this bad, we probably would have skipped it and done something else. But we have to go through just like on Perfectly Good Podcast, we have to do the 1-star songs. We got to get through these. But hang tight. It does get better. This season does get better.
Okay.
All right.
Yes,
Karen.
we have 2 emails. I'll read the one from Texas on the Shock first. And this says something about the episode. I don't really have much to say about this one. It basically fills a slot in the season schedule and sets up things that are to come. Yep, I agree, Texas.
Yep.
That's the shortest letter yet.
No, that's not the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
A few highlights are Londo and G'Kar sneaking Natatha off Centauri Prime. It's the kind of ploy I really like. You don't try and quietly sneak out. You make as much of a scene as possible and just walk out. I should have used the animal magnetism line in my last email.
Ooh, yes.
That's good. The Centauri Palace also seems to me to be the perfect metaphor for Centauri government, larger than it needs to be, parts of it that are redundant and no longer needed and can just be cut off and forgotten about with no real loss, much like a lot of real governments. Speaking of governments, Sheridan has the unenviable task of trying to hold the alliance together as they start turning on each other when evidence is seemingly found that one or more of them are behind the recent attacks. Sheridan believes the evidence has been planted to try and turn the alliance worlds against each other, which is dishearteningly easy to do. Eventually, he has to rely on good old gunship diplomacy to keep them from attacking each other and get them to back off long enough for the Rangers to investigate and find out who's doing it. With Sheridan keeping that circus under control, it falls to Lockley to deal with the telepaths, and her solution is to call in Bester. Really, it's the only viable option available to her. Unfortunately, it prompts the telepaths that have been running loose to take it up a notch, raiding an armory and attacking the core and station security. And that sets up next time when we shall see how this all falls out and we all come together in a better place. I'm assuming that's his little hint. This is the Texas on the Shock signing off until Zaveni in Valen's name. So thanks, Texas.
Thank
Great
you.
email.
Always, yes.
We agree with you. Nathan with another short email. We can tell by the length of the email and by the opening statement how you feel about it. And it's usually part of our thinking as well, right?
Yes.
So Nathan says, hey guys, as you might know, season 5 episode with that title just can't be exciting in any way. Lockley is written as a hypocrite because she both goes to talk and pleads for telepaths to leave, and then invites Bester and his troops to take them even before it happens. Not a sympathetic character at all, despite the show seemingly presenting her like we should care about her conflict. Garibaldi's speech about history being defined by wars is amazing. Oh, I forgot to mention that. That's true. I love that point.
That was a good, I agree.
As his scene with Bester, once again, a continuation of an established character and story is more interesting than a new one with hippie telepaths.
Thinking of the Star Trek episode where they had the space hippies, that was really bad.
Peace.
Man.
G'Kar and Londo antics are delightful to watch too, even though it's a heavy story of Natoth being imprisoned for years and being abandoned on the whim of the powerful, which is a parallel of Sheridan's abandonment of telepaths for his personal bigger issue of war, and those without power being unable to go against the rules of the institution. With regards, Nathan.
Gonna crack my knuckles and jump for joy. Got a clean bill of health from Dr. McCoy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, how about, I know we were off last week. I meant to talk about that at the very beginning. We ran into some real issue problems, but did we get any feedback on our YouTube channel?
We got one from Nathan for the episode 10 in the Kingdom of the Blind, and basically, as indicative of this season, he's talking about things other than the episode. He's just commenting about that he agrees with me on the fact that Pratchett is tiring, and he likes comedic fantasies.
Okay, good.
We can all agree that we like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right? I think we can all agree that's right up our alley. Is that it? Nathan and all three of us, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Nope, I do. I love it.
Okay.
Yep. 42.
That's
and
right.
If someone wants to reach you, Lou, or how can they?
They can check us out at YouTube under Lou's Reviews, where we do our flagship show for the moment, which is Babylon 5. We've also do one-offs under our JKL Media banner. And we just recently
12 Angry Men.
12 Angry Men, a fantastic movie.
And that was a great conversation as well. So please go check it out.
Yes, it was. And we've done one-offs there also for Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass, Bruce Springsteen, Stevie Van Zandt, some comic books. So there's a wide variety of pop culture there for you to check out. Hopefully you'll find something there that will tickle your geek bone, and you'll decide to check it out. As well, I have the writer podcast that I do, where I interview writers, as well as my Stephen King podcast. And on Twitter, you can find me at Lou W. Sitzma, SYTSMA.
Nice.
You can email us at jklb5podcast@gmail.com. And I am at Oliveria on all social media sites that I belong to.
Armod.
VR mod?
Yep.
Oh, I don't want that. There's a lot of killing. No, I don't.
You want to be in the world.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with it being 2D. So yeah, at Oliveria, please check me out on Twitter. I'm on there quite a bit. And my blog is aliesstuff.com.
I am at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter. I am Jesse Jackson on Facebook, Louisville, Texas. By the time you hear this, there's a good chance the election will be over and I will be printing less political stuff. I am in the middle of 30 days of Springsteen on Set Lusting Bruce. I am doing 30 episodes in 30 days. I am going through a deep dive with a guest on specific Springsteen albums. We're having a blast, but I will tell you, it is tiring my ass out. That is a lot of recording, and I'm having to do double. Like, these guys had to wait 15 minutes because I was finishing up an episode this morning. But please check it out. It's a lot of fun. I've had some great guests going into deep dive, just focusing on one album, and I appreciate it. We kicked it off with an episode discussing Hulu's latest Springsteen documentary, Road Diary, which is really well. I think it was really well done, and it makes me want to go back and see another Bruce show. But everything makes me want to go see another Bruce.
I think of you every time I see a reference.
One of the things that I miss my mom for a lot of reasons, obviously, but One of the things that made me smile is every time she went to a garage sale and she saw anything that had Bruce Springsteen on it, a cassette, an album, a CD, she bought it and sent it to me.
Mm,
And excited that maybe I didn't have it. And of course, the reality is, but there were things like she found me a Human Touch cassette, and
mm,
Awesome.
it just every time it saw it made me smile that she thought of me and picked it up and sent it.
yeah.
And so that's
My mom did that with Coca-Cola memorabilia
yeah.
because I collect Coca-Cola memorabilia.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't?
Very cool. No, okay. We'll have to work on that. All right, listeners, thank you so much for letting us hanging with us on this wide, crazy, diverse discussion. We appreciate
I'm holding up my pop figures of Coca-Cola.
Yeah, everyone, thank you so much for supporting us. We will see you next week. For now, be safe, be kind, and we'll talk to you soon.
And see.